No, just what I already said. Like, just basically use your discernment on social media and fill yourself up with the positive things on social media. And there's a lot of stuff that you can learn. So just, is it feeding you, like I said, is it feeding you positively, or is it feeding you something that's making you feel negative about yourself or about the world?
But the social media pressures, I would say, is just try to focus on your own plate, focus on what you got going on. Try not to worry about what everybody else is doing all the time, because if you study worried about what they're doing every day and how they're
Yeah.
moving and what they got going on, you will lose a part of yourself trying to chase somebody
Yeah.
and chase what they're doing, chase their
Yeah.
lifestyle, because that's not you, who God built you to be.
We're worrying about what Taylor Swift is doing, or Beyonce's doing, or Najee's doing, instead of worrying what we need to do with ourselves. Because as I tell people, you think Beyonce or Taylor Swift or anything gonna come and pay your bills and pay your
Yeah.
car note and buy your food? I don't think so.
And I think that technological advances that we're experiencing, then right now that are amazing. But I don't want technology then to control me. Okay, I want to be able then to control it. And my concern that are with algorithms.
Hi, welcome to C Notes. I'm Sierra, the founder and host of C Notes. And today's episode is Fake It Till You Make It. Now, before you roll your eyes or dismiss this cliche, I want you to hear it in the way I'm about to break it down. Because this isn't about being fake, this is about becoming. This is about what it feels like to grow into the version of you that you've never seen modeled before, not in your family or your timeline or even in the mirror. See, when you're becoming and doing something no one in your entire bloodline has ever done before, of course it's going to feel foreign. Of course it's going to feel like you don't belong. But that doesn't mean you're an imposter. It means you're becoming. I remember when I first became a therapist, I felt like a fraud. Like, who am I to guide people in life when my own life didn't even look the way I wanted it to look? But I showed up anyway. I kept showing up. I told myself, keep going until your truth catches up with your title. And it did. Now, no one can tell me I'm not one of the best to do it, okay? I know I'm one of the best therapists out because I've done the inner work. I've sat with so many people in their lowest moments, and they told me through tears the work that we've done changed their lives. But this isn't just about my career, it's also about my faith, my truth, because I didn't always believe I could have my own relationship with God. I grew up thinking I had to go through someone else, through religion, through rituals, through rules, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It didn't feel like living. I felt like I was already in a box in so many different ways. And I'm like, okay, you want me to follow these rules, do all of this, and then I can have a relationship with God? I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cool. Life already sucks anyway. I didn't even think that, honestly, because I never was taught this, or, that man, having a relationship with God makes life so much better. I was just so stuck in living reckless and living in survival mode that I was just blind, it was the blind leading the blind, But through my work, through therapy, and I'm going to say it wasn't until I had this one client, and yeah, it was a client that showed me what faith looked like. Then I realized I didn't have to search for God outside of myself. I could find God in me. But let's be honest, when you start healing, when you start moving different, when you stop people pleasing, you're going to make people uncomfortable, especially your family. I've had conversations recently that reminded me how deep this goes. One woman recently told me her mom snatched her wig off for speaking her truth, not being disrespectful, not being rude, but just simply like, Mom, you say this, but you do this. You know what I'm saying? And another woman I know recently, her sister did the same thing, snatched her wig off, and it was her birthday because she was loving herself the way she deserves to. And it's her birthday. Why she can't love herself? She ain't being rude. She ain't disrespectful. But when you start living in alignment, you become a mirror. I tell my clients this all the time. And a lot of people do not like their reflections, but a lot of people don't like when you reflect their inconsistencies back on them. You start hearing things like, "Oh, you think you better than us? Oh, why you always gotta be so deep? Why you always gotta be a therapist? Take your therapist hat off. It ain't a therapist hat. This is who I am. I'm Sierra." Nah, but people hear this. Even people who are not therapists, people who are in therapy but they're not therapists, they hear this from family. And who those people are? It's the black sheeps of the family. The black sheep, though. The black sheep in the family, that's the one God usually calls. I know I'm the black sheep. My mama was the black sheep before me. And let me remind you, Joseph was the black sheep. That's if y'all read the Bible. But his brothers literally threw him in the pit and he still ended up in the palace. Why? Because God doesn't call the qualified. God calls the tested. And those tests become your testimony, which brings me to our first song of the day, T.I. featuring Tiana Taylor. You.
And that's whether you study from the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah. We original indigenous.
Yes, your test is your testimony. And yes, when you're breaking generational patterns, healing trauma, and doing the work your bloodline avoided for decades, you're going to feel like an imposter at first, but keep going because it's not fake, it's faith. Even on social media, when you're posting your growth, your joy, your healing journey, and people questioning it, they scroll, they judge, they talk. Don't shrink. Don't post less because the people you love aren't clapping for you. Post anyway, share anyway, heal anyway, because what feels like faking it now is really you practicing the version of you that's already in progress. You're not pretending, you're preparing. So let's get into these conversations. Imposter syndrome. I feel like a lot of people definitely experience that, especially with the social media. Social media has caused imposter syndrome to the highest level possible. Mm-hmm. I don't like social media, but it's just a part of our life now. Like, it's a part of our lives. But can you tell me about your experience with imposter syndrome or just the pressures of social media?
I think the pressures of social media, I think, what was it? MySpace was what was out when I was like a teenager, like in high school. So MySpace was like, okay, so top friends. If you had MySpace, you know that top friends was something like somebody took so seriously. And as like being younger, you literally would come to school the next day and people would have changed their top friends, their top 3 friends or something. And it was like the most drastic thing ever. So starting off just from MySpace and now going into like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all these things, especially I feel like YouTube is the worst. I mean, it's kind of like the best and the worst because all these people that have this platform on YouTube, I feel like they start off genuine and they start off as who they are, and then once they get all these followers and all these people that they have to impress to keep those the subscriptions and all that, it just turns into something so ugly. And I think that even just with Facebook, for me, like you're keeping up with people that you don't have any any like real relationship with. And I think for me being younger, I would always like everybody's posting obviously like their new clothes or they bought this and they bought that. And you're just like, when you are in the type of situation I was in when I was younger, I didn't have any money. So I'm like, dang, I gotta go get these new shoes, or I gotta go have these clothes, like these trending, all this stuff that's trending for people to accept me. And it was never true. But that pressure that you feel, I guess being in that low point and seeing all this stuff, it does make you feel like, dang, I need to do this to be accepted from them. Not even, and it's never about yourself. It's always trying to impress the other person or impress these people that don't even know you in real life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely agree with you. When you first mentioned MySpace, I don't know. I never really was on social media like that, honestly. So when I had my my MySpace, I had it, and I do remember I never even really changed the top friends or anything like that. And I was going to say MySpace, I don't know, for me, it was more fun. It was just like, and I had seen this post, actually, it's ironic. It was just like, man, MySpace was teaching us how to code before coding was even
Yeah, I see that too.
for me.
It
The
was. It
background,
was fun.
it was fun. It was
The
fun.
music, the song that came on when they came to your profile.
And then I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. But I don't know. I feel like things are changing. Honestly, it took some time, and it's going to take even more time. But it did just it got worse and worse and worse. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even when you said what you said about YouTube, which I feel like is really relevant to all the platforms because anybody can just talk and say things. When I was looking at a lot of the stuff, I was like, and then when I created my podcast, I feel like I was just telling somebody, I feel like my first season, I feel like it was really authentic and genuine. And then my second season, I feel like it was great. I feel like I was trying to make it look good, but I feel like this season is the season where I'm the most intentional about the content I'm putting out. I'm like, I can't care about what anybody feels or think or whatever. This is I'll say my purpose in getting the message out to the world, because a lot of people do need help with these topics. Yeah, with this season, I just really wanted to be intentional about the content I'm putting out there, because I feel like, my call and my purpose. And I know a lot of people need to hear this. And it's not going to always look pretty. And it's not like me trying to, I feel like I don't really even like labels. Don't like them at all. Like a lot of the people I hear talking about relationships and talking about, all this stuff is saying like, they're narcissists, they're gaslighting, they're just throwing out these terms.
Yes.
As we're seeing, and I'm talking to all these people, I'm like, these people gonna think I planned this. The people who really are doing the work, the people who are like dealing with the issues of grief, relationship challenges, healing from sexual abuse, addictions, attachments, they know that it has to start with self. You can't, I don't care gaslighting you. I don't care if he is a narcissist. I don't care about none of that. You still chose to stay. You still,
Exactly.
and I'm not trying to blame or nothing, but it starts with self. A lot of us have to, I feel like, work on before we even start dating, but that's not something that's normal. Like before we get into, I'll say we should be learning this though in school, honestly. But social media created a platform where everybody has a platform and everybody can just talk and say whatever they want, honestly. And like you said, it's a good thing, and it's a not so great thing, because a lot of people, I have clients who are like, yeah, I saw this on TikTok, or I saw this. What do you think? I'm just like, you got to feel like, I say you have to do what you feel is right for you.
Because just like in real life, like what you surround yourself in real life is the same thing for social media. Like whatever you're putting in your feed and what you're searching for and what's coming up in your algorithm and all that stuff. Like Instagram, I made it a point to not follow. I think I maybe follow a handful of like celebrities, and I only follow them like Sierra, like singers. Like I follow them for that reason, because I like their music. But like as far as anything else, I don't want to see I don't know these famous people in real life. So it's like, I don't want to follow famous people that I don't keep up with in real life. I follow poets because I like their poetry. I follow, music people because I like their music, like those type of positive things. But like following somebody else to like see the tea, or follow somebody else for like all this drama and all that stuff, I'm not following anybody for any of that.
No, I agree. I really don't follow any, I'll say, quote unquote, celebrities, or what they call now influencers, because it's easy for people to become that. The clickbait, they know what society wants, they know what gets views, they know. And I'm like, yeah, when you really start working on yourself and step outside of that, I don't know, for me, I always enjoy life, honestly. So I always be outside. I just be living my best life. So it's even like, it's easy for me not to get distracted by social media. And then also, I'm just honestly thinking about this right now. That's why I'm like, even when I'm having conversations, especially with people who I'll say very much so are in the same type of, I'm gonna say frequency or this, yeah, I'm gonna just say frequency. It makes me do a lot of my own self reflection. It's like aha moments. But when I was younger, I've been telling people when I was younger, I don't really, I say I didn't know, but I know wholeheartedly it was God. I'm looking at my surroundings. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't, you know. And then when I'm watching these TV shows, it gave me like, oh, it's something. It got to be something more because, you know, life. I'll say entertainment imitates life. So this stuff is coming from something that was real. And then the books I'm reading, all of that good stuff. So I never got caught up with social media because I know what it's like to be outside and having fun and really enjoying life.
Exactly.
And even when I took taking some trips with people, and that's why I just started going by myself, like literally just to sit on a seat. You're not even experiencing it. You know, they just
No,
making it look good. I don't want that
me either. I want to live. I
experience
want to actually
life.
live in that moment. I want to. That's what I want to do. That travel by myself
Yeah.
too. But for that specific reason, I'm just like,
Yeah, living in the moment. That saying has been around forever. And a lot of people are not living in the moment. They're just living for what, you know, one of my clients just said this. They're living their life through the lenses of others. They're
yeah.
not living for self.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah. But is there anything else you want to talk about or, you know, get out there in regards to your experience with, you know, social media and imposter syndrome and you know all that good stuff.
I think just back to the point of not following that type of content on any platform, like not following anything negative, following positive people like your podcast. Like I follow your podcast. I follow my other friend's podcast that I was on because it's about mental health too. Like if anything that you want to work on, whether I guess business, mental health, learning how to build stuff, like those are the things that you should be following on social media. It's easy to get caught up in like drama or like reality TV. I've never been into reality TV, but I see so many people get drawn into like this reality TV, and it's fun for a lot of people. That's not fun to me. Like confusion is not fun to me. So like when I see all these videos and stuff like that, I just stay away from that. So like anything that's like negative, and sometimes you might not realize that it's negative, but just look at how it makes you feel. Like what are you feeding off of? Like what is it feeding you from that video or whatever you just watched? Is it feeding you positivity or is it feeding you some bullshit? I don't know if we cussing on here, but is it feeding you positivity or is it feeding you something bad? Like,
No, I agree with you. I'm definitely not big on reality TV shows. Reality TV is not even reality. It's very much so scripted. They have scripts, they have takes, they have cuts, and they have a storyline that they have to feed the audience. And even that, I was like, I wouldn't want to be on a reality TV show where I have to make it seem like my life is chaotic. And a lot of people, honestly, we had talked about this in attachments with the friends. A lot of people watch those reality shows to make themselves feel good about their lives, honestly, to escape what they're going through. Reality TV show is a vice. It's an attachment. It's an addiction.
yeah.
And also, with what you were saying, the algorithm is real, y'all. Whatever you want to, I'll say whatever you're going through. So if you like, man, the world is just a horrible place, and then you nothing but negativity is showing up on your timeline, that's because that's what you're feeding it. You
Exactly.
clicking on the things that align with the message, you know, whatever you want to make it your reality to validate your
You're working
perspective on
against
life.
yourself, literally. You're literally working against yourself on purpose.
And what you just said, follow on purpose, intentionally. Follow what you want your life to be like. Align your life, your social media with your life. Like you said, if you want to be a business owner, entrepreneur, you should be following, I'll say, not all, because some people make it look good, but you should follow people who you know you can feel too genuineness. You can feel it, and you know when people are telling the truth. You know when people are being honest. And yeah, and if you want to write a book, follow people who write books. Like just follow people whose values, morals, and things like that seem to align with what you want in life. I agree with that.
Yeah, like follow people that are showing you the ugly sides of stuff. Like, let's say you're trying to work out. You're not going to go follow a fitness person that already has a six pack or abs, or you want to go follow somebody that posted their whole entire journey along the way. Not, I started here and then I'm going to jump to this. Like the people that sell weight loss pills and stuff. Like you can literally tell these people are just pushing this product or they're pushing this one thing. Go for people that are going to show you every step of the way. Like YouTube, you can go back on people's YouTube videos and be like, dang, they really started from here and showed us how they worked their way all the way up to that. Those are the type of people you want to follow because they're not hiding anything from you. People always try to make it, you can't jump to this. You can't jump to anything in life. You have to put in the work to appreciate where you got to. Like, you cannot go from here to here. That's not how it works. If you believe that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, nothing in life is going to be that easy for you. And if it is, you're not even going to appreciate it. So I don't even want that.
I'll say that's the era. This the microwave era. Like, people want fast results. They want a blueprint to life. And honestly, I feel like this has been humanity's biggest downfall. Like, wanting to a blueprint, the fastest route to success, the fastest route to happiness, and it's like, it's within you. Can't nobody give that to you.
No.
And I think I'll say the most authentic and the most successful companies, they know that it's the storytelling. Even when you think about Disney, why has it been around for so long? You got to look at these people, look at these companies, and look at the message. They're creating a story. Disney creates a story for you and make it feel like, and I know this may seem cliche, but hey, this is what it is. They create a story for you and they make you feel the magic.
Yeah, and they make you feel nostalgic from when you were a kid because they've been around for so long too.
And even not that, because my kid, the younger kids are still watching it too. They make it really relevant. They show you and give you an experience from start to finish, and you can see it. And that's why I'm like, I want to just speak on my truth. I'm very open, honest. There's nothing to hide. Who are we scared of?
Because that's
why are you scared to put your truth out there?
Yeah, you can't be scared of your testimony. You don't know who needs to hear that. That's what I'm saying. People post stuff. Like, I could post I bought a new car, but y'all don't know that I drove a lemon for 10 years and I've been saving all this money to buy a new car. Like, people don't post that part. I'm not scared of that part. I'm going to show you how I got there. I worked for this. I'm proud that I worked to get here. That part of the work, I'm not going to ever cut out because that's the most important part of how I got to where I'm at right now. Why would I cut that out?
It is. And that's why I'm, like I said, being intentional about the content I'm putting out. And that's why I'm having multiple guests talk about their experience with these topics, because it's different for everybody. It's the same, at a core what it is, but our experience in it is different. And yeah, I really appreciate you willing to share and be open, honest, vulnerable, because I feel like that takes the biggest courage in life to me. Being vulnerable, it's the biggest strength that a lot of people feel like it's a weakness, but wearing your heart on your sleeve is very, 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 it takes courage because a lot of people don't do it. But is there a message you want to leave the audience in regards to social media pressure and imposter syndrome?
No, just what I already said. Like, just basically use your discernment on social media and fill yourself up with the positive things on social media. And there's a lot of stuff that you can learn. So just, is it feeding you, like I said, is it feeding you positively, or is it feeding you something that's making you feel negative about yourself or about the world? That's not what you need to be watching.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So imposter syndrome, social media, I feel like they go hand in hand because a lot of people are, I'll say this, living their life in the through the lenses of others, and it's not even what you really think, because social media, you can make it what you want to make it. And get stuck in trying to be something that nobody really is anyway.
But because you can, if you're chasing the success you see on the internet, on social media, you're always going to lose because some of them people are portraying lives that they're not actually living. Some people are just making it look good to pull you into their ecosystem. And a lot of things you'll figure out once you start getting into these rooms of these big corporations, different people that you're dealing with, you understand one or two things. Either the lifestyle they're living is fake or none of it really makes sense at all. Like it's just, it's one of the two, or you just don't have the drive to do what they're doing to get where they're at.
Yeah.
Because they had to go through all of these sequences to become who they were. So if you don't have those tools installed in you already, it's going to be hard for you to navigate through that. But the social media pressures, I would say, is just try to focus on your own plate. Focus on what you got going on. Try not to worry about what everybody else is doing all the time, because if you study worried about what they're doing every day and how they're moving and what they got going on, you will lose a part of yourself trying to chase somebody and chase what they're doing, chase their lifestyle, because that's not you. That's not who God built you to be. So you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be able to live your own life and worry about what's on your plate instead of focusing on what others are doing. So that's what I would just say so far. Just focus on yourself. Don't try to live how they live. Don't try to do what they do. Worry about what you do.
And I try to tell people, the life you stand online is not, I would say the people who really live in it, they're not online. They're not showing their full life online. As far as my immediate family, I was the first one to buy a house. And when I bought my house, my sister, I don't want it on social media. Like, I don't have to walk my whole life on social media. But I'll say this transition for me, like even doing this podcast and like what I want to accomplish and to reach more people and the messages, I was like, okay, you got to be on social media a little bit. So, but my life, that's not my life. That's, I'm providing information and hoping that people can just see a little bit and want to make the change for themselves. I don't want nobody to live my life. I don't want to live nobody else's life. I want you to really embrace who you are and do what's best for you. But is there anything that you want to add in regards to like that social media pressure or social media in general?
Social media in general, I would just say if it's coming to social media, if you're trying to build a presence and you want to actually be a powerhouse on the space, you need to get knowledgeable with marketing. You need to understand how to use those theme pages. You need to learn how to invest into marketing overall. Just figure out what trends is working, different things like that. That way you can become whatever you want to become, or whatever you're doing in business, you can work on trying to build off of that instead of trying to chase what other people are doing.
Yeah.
The people at the top are never going to reach back and tell you everything that they're doing. And like you said earlier, real money don't really talk like that. A lot of money don't really show the wealth. They don't really do all that because they're busy living in the moment.
Yeah.
You ain't never seen Lamborghini shoot a commercial selling their cars, because the clients that they got are probably not at home watching it on the couch. They're going in there with the bag and they're spending it right then and there. They know what they're coming to get.
A lot of people are not.
You ain't never seen a Lamborghini commercial. I don't think they make a commercial, honestly. Like, they don't.
A lot of people are not living life, honestly. And that's what, deal with what you need to deal with and start living now. That's big. But I feel like you're being more intentional. A lot of people are not intentional when it comes to social media, like thinking about the marketing and how it can benefit you, because social media, it's not a bad thing if you're using it right, but a lot of people not thinking about that.
Social media is a tool.
It is a tool. Just like money is a tool.
I didn't understand that social media was such a tool, a powerhouse to make money. I didn't realize it could be a business until I actually got around marketers at the highest level that I felt that's in our space and our culture, and I've seen them do real numbers. Watch my mentor make $1 million in a day selling a challenge online.
Yeah.
Watch them do 100K days. Like, I've seen this in my eyes. Like, it's real life. And I'm like, they're doing that on Instagram.
Yeah.
So imagine all the other spaces they're covering. YouTube, they got Google, they got, Facebook. They're doing all of that. It all comes down to marketing. You look at it, any person you've seen come down that timeline 1,001 times, you're like, man, sometimes you'll see a powerhouse come down your timeline so much, you feel like you're about to know them.
Yeah.
And then when their content is intentional and they feel like they're talking directly to you, you feel like you're part of their ecosystem. And now you're going and buying tickets to their networking events. You're going there happy to meet them because now you became a part of what they got going on. And so it all comes down to marketing. If you know how to put your money where it got to go.
That's it. And also, if you're using it right, I feel like how you're explaining social media is the right way. I always tell my clients, I'm like, social media is, because everybody like, I need to do a social media cleanse. Only if you're using it in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like, And you can tell too with the algorithm, like, because the algorithm is like, it's a like you said, social media is a business.
It is.
It's one of the most, I'll say, I was telling a lot of my clients, social media is one of the highest paying things right now. The richest people are getting paid through social media. That's just what it is. But it's a lot of people just using it to stay stagnant, to keep up with people who are basically lying to you anyway, versus utilizing it. I'm like, you just got to change the way you're using it.
You got to change the way that you're using it, change the way you're looking at it, change the way you're using it. Like you said, anything from that point on, it's on you. But overall, I think the social media pressure, don't get pressured by it. Just get good at marketing.
Yeah.
Get good at marketing your lifestyle. If you like to be vlogging and being and showing lifestyle, then put more time into learning how to put it down the algorithm. Figure out what's changing in the algorithms, what's working right now. Figure out what you can do that's in your niche to make it work. Don't get pressured by what everybody else is doing. You know how many times I done looked at other people when I first got started, I'm like, dang, I know I'm more skillful than them. I could do this, but they just got that following. You know what I'm saying? And
but not doing, a lot of people not doing anything with it anyway.
Yeah, they're not. But it's just the mindset. It just work like that sometimes. Yeah. When you see somebody doing something, it kind of discourages you. So you have to stay focused on your play. And I had to learn that the hard way. I had to figure out, okay, I got to get better at marketing. I have to get better at doing this, because you can't just suspect to just jump on there and people just flock to it. It don't work like that.
It don't.
You have to understand the system, understand how it works, and figure out how to put yourself in place to move forward with it. So
it's the consistency and effort that we've been talking about.
Yep. As long as they got, the consistency, and you put the effort into trying harder every day, you'll get better at the algorithm. You'll get better at learning how to market.
And utilizing it to your best ability, like for your best interests.
Yep. Most definitely.
Because if you really invested in yourself, you're going to see social media as a tool. You're going to see, I've been saying it, like money is a tool. Like a lot of people just,
they look at money like it's the root of evil. They look at it like it's this. Everybody got
the end all be all, but it's not.
That's when people look at it. And I look at money as a tool, because it can change the circumstances of your life. You can use this to build a foundation. You can build wealth for your people if you know what to do with the money. Everything about money is not evil. It's about the person and how they utilize it.
Yeah, and that's the same with social media.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same difference. If you're utilizing it for the right things, then you can use it to make it happen, whatever you want to make happen. But if you're not using it for the right way, then you obviously gonna get the same results. It's gonna be insanity every time. You're gonna keep doing the same thing. So it's your mindset.
It is.
Go back to the mindset. Go back to your perspective on how you look at it. So
thank you.
Well,
Okay, social media pressure, imposter syndrome, I feel like they go hand in hand, because I feel like with social media comes sometimes that imposter syndrome. And I feel like you could probably give a different perspective on how or what your experience has been with dealing with social media and the pressure of it all.
Well, first of all, I'm glad I grew up when I did, since I am slightly older than you by about 2 years, okay? But in my life, when I grew up, it was just radio and television.
Yeah.
And then evolving come the stirring of the internet. I remember growing up as a kid, the phone was attached to the wall. And you could go no further than about 3 or 4 feet unless you pulled it off the wall, okay? Then they developed cordless phones. So now I can go about 20 feet and be able to sit on the couch and talk on the phone without it being attached to the wall. Then come this thing of the computers and the internet and the iMacs and all those things in the early beginning. And what happens is they got us into a thing where instead of just communicating with each other as we used to do with families and relatives and friends of that nature, now we interact with the media. And the media has had such an impact that now people think they don't need any, and people will actually panic if they go out without their phone, I mean, such as they become so attached to it. And the media media has changed. Now all of a sudden you got the views, how many views I've got. I heard a little girl about 9 years old, I got 100 views. She, you know what I'm saying? So so what happens if people don't view? It's almost as if these are the things that now dictate what is success or non-success. You have fans only club, okay, You have so many variables and whatnot. And the irony is TikTok is about to be banned in the United States because of its influence. It only influences about 170 million people. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like a whole lot of people. So people are still to this day fighting it, but people now are entertained via these things. They have short clips of about 10, 15, 20 seconds, that you can watch on the end. But so people are not communicating. Readership has gone down, intelligence has gone down, and as media has affected where now, because people used to read. When I was a child, and I would be on the subway in New York City, people would be reading their newspapers, the New York Times, the New York Post, the New York Amsterdam News. Now, if you get on the subway or train here in New York, 90% of the people are looking in their phone. Very rarely of them have a book. Very rarely of them read a newspaper, but they're all looking in their phones. And what happens if the internet goes out? A lot of people are going to be in trouble. And because it causes us to live in a world or a bubble within ourselves. But if there was a lack of these things would change. But it has changed a lot. We're worrying about what Taylor Swift is doing, or Beyonce's doing, or Najee's doing, instead of worrying what we need to do with ourselves. Because as I tell people, you think Beyonce or Taylor Swift or anything gonna come and pay your bills and pay your
Yeah.
car note and buy your food? I don't think so. But yet they got us looking in that direction, looking at holding on to every word they're doing. Oh, so and so is married, so and so. I understand so and so is pregnant. That doesn't have amount to a hill of beans that's going to affect your life. So I think if we can keep it in perspective, and now they found out that children who are given these devices at an early age, it's hard to get them out of it. And that children actually go into a rage. There was a clip I saw where this young boy had tore up his mother's kitchen because she took his device away, you know? And so there's something really, really wrong because we're not communicating. So I've seen here in New York City a lady in a stroller and the baby's holding the phone. I don't think the baby's 2, 3 years old yet. And so we're going into it where we become detached from each other. Where part of the family is feeling a closeness toward one another. The COVID experience also did that. What you had to do, stand 6 feet apart. You couldn't hug your mother on Thanksgiving, although you and I know we can't go to Thanksgiving and not hug our mother. You crazy? They don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Because that's that family bond that we have. And they found that hugging is very, very therapeutic too. And they found that a child that's never been hugged or never been loved does not grow up to be a normal adult. So this whole thing about this internet, this media thing, it's really changed people, and it's almost as if it has hypnotized them to just stay more focused on what's on the screen than what's in real life in front of them.
Yeah.
And I've seen people walk into polls. Some people walked into they got these little fountains, walked into the
Yeah.
fountains and all that stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
Because we are so focused on that little screen that we're not focused on the things around us, which is why you could be kidnapped, you could be you're assaulted because we're not paying attention. And so that's one of the things I see as a negative, that we no longer have as much what I call situational awareness of what's going on around you because we're so busy looking down at something. Even when people go out on a date now, they're on their phones.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of going out on a date? To go out on a date, you get to know somebody, you interact, but if they don't have their phone,
Yeah.
it's so that's why I'm saying how people have been glued. A young lady even lost her life a couple of years ago. Why? Because her phone fell on the train track. She tried to jump down there and get it and was run over by the train.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if she had to do it to ask would it have been worth it, she just said no. She could always replace the phone. But we're so attached to it like an umbilical cord that we can't go nowhere without it. So
Yeah.
I would see, so there's a lot of positive that you can find out what's going around the world in an instance, okay, which is why TikTok is banned, because people are getting other alternate information other than, and the irony is they talk about, well, TikTok is in your privacy. Well, Google's in my privacy.
Exactly.
Apple's in my privacy.
Yeah.
When you got what's this thing? Uh, uh, there's this round thing you have in your house. You tell it what to do. Um,
The Alexa or
yeah, Alexa. Alexa, do this. Alexa, do that.
yeah,
Siri, do
yeah.
this. Man, and let me tell you this. Here's what's interesting. I have an Apple unit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in one part of the room, and I'll say, if I say the name, it'll start interacting. Hey, so and
Yeah.
so, set the time. And I'll be in one part of the house, and it'll set the time in another part of the house. So it tells me that the volume is up. So it's not just TikTok that's in your business. Everybody's making money off statistical things. So this whole media thing, it has its conveniences, but I'm not impressed. You no longer have privacy. They even tell you try not to sleep in the room with the phone in it. Leave the phone outside the room. Okay, so it's a big change. It's not the same. It's not the
Yeah.
same.
How have you been able to, I'll say, because I feel like throughout life, we still have to be like, I'll say on the cutting edge, like being aware of what's going on, but also staying true to you because I feel like I'm not gonna say I didn't grow up with like the internet because I did, but as far as like the TikTok, the social media, because I'm really not big on it, but it's just a part of like now, honestly, because I know you're an entrepreneur, like in doing this numerology and which I love, like how do you stay current with that versus trying to maintain your privacy?
Well, one of the things I stopped watching is TV.
Yeah.
That's one, because if you notice, after every commercial, there's always some pharmaceutical thing they're trying to sell you. So after a while, they'll have you says, well, oh, I never heard of restless leg syndrome. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I mean, my legs get restless for me. I mean, what's that about? You know what I'm saying? And all these other things, I think they're invented. So I found that one of the first things, once I stopped watching TV, I was able to really more focus and get things done.
Yeah.
But these things are designed to keep you glued. And in fact, they even passed an FCC, the Federal Communications thing, a couple of years ago. You would get up from the TV, go into the bathroom, or run to the kitchen, and the volume would actually be raised to follow you. So these is one of the things that, okay, whatever the volume was, keep the volume there. But I mean, so advertisers or powers that be are about controlling things, but it can only go but so much. But there's individuality that's always going to come through. For
Yeah.
me, I start watching TV. I now get my information maybe from various sources, but I don't watch TV. I remember I went to a friend's house and I was there 5 minutes, and in that 5 minutes they were watching the news. Somebody had killed their mother. Another family had been caught on fire. I mean, it was so depressing. I says, now I
Yes.
see why I start watching TV. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So with anything, I love to read, share my books.
Yeah.
So this is my company. You
Yeah.
know, this is
Yeah.
what I do. And it allows me to travel this world sitting right here at this table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it has its points, but you have to know up to a what point,
Yeah.
because
I
people are
agree.
absorbed in it all day. And now people will be talking to you and looking at the thing like that. You know what I'm saying? There's no attention, there's no looking into the eyes or feeling a person or whatever the case is. So
Yeah.
these are some of to me, the downside. Some of it is good, but the downside is really awful where kids can't concentrate. Here in New York City, for example, they're thinking about passing a law where kids cannot use their cell phones in school or bring it to school, because they'll be in a classroom. You got a kid way in the back, instead of paying attention to the teacher up front. They're in the back scrolling Instagram or whatever the young kids are watching, whatever. So there's going to be a change.
Yeah. It is. It is. Yeah, technology is is definitely playing a role on a lot of people and their mental health and how they deal and
Yeah,
encounter
yeah.
interact with one another.
And
So,
now they've introduced AI,
oh yeah,
so they
yeah,
could have you and me kissing. We don't even know each other.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so is almost blurring what is true and what's not true, especially for a young child who
Yeah.
doesn't know the difference. As adults, we can say, okay, well, that's, but for a young child, they could think it's just as believable. They
Mm-hmm.
could have us hating each other or just as while loving each other, but it seems as if it wants to take on more of a negative connotation. Unfortunately, I think that's a very unfortunate role to play in this society.
Yeah, I agree. But thank you for sharing your
I don't mean
perspective.
to sound depressing, but you asked
No,
me the
it's true.
question,
But
and
that's why I started watching the news a long time ago. Like, soon as I exited my mom's house, like, and got into, I haven't seen the news, like, unless I'm at somebody's house and it's on there, but I don't even pay attention to it because it
yeah,
is so depressing. And I tell everybody, you are what you consume. And that goes for what you're watching on TV, what you're listening
yep,
to,
especially.
everything that you consume, not just eat, everything you consume becomes you. And that it's just, it's a lot of positivity going on too. But why are we so focused on the negative? Because people, I'll say, they feed off that. And I don't want to be in that energy.
Well, for example, 2025 is a nine. Nine governs Mars, which is the war planet. Well, nine to the positive is humanitarian, global, universal, things like that. To the negative is war, conflicts, accidents, fender benders, explosions, dangers from knives, fires, things like that. And so it's at one point in the Congress, you know, the Democrats and the Republicans had their disputes. Now at this point they hate each other. But
Yeah.
yet you're supposed to be working on behalf of the American citizens of this country as
Yeah.
against, well, I don't like this person, I don't like this person. And now, you know, Trump is going to be elected soon. And they're talking about, well, is there a plot to assassinate him? Is against, well, why don't we all work for the benefit of
Yeah.
this nation
Yeah.
as citizens of this country?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why
Humanitarian.
is it you can give to the Middle East, Ukraine, billions and billions of dollars, but when I think what they wanted to offer people in North Carolina and the California fires recently is about $720. Now, what are you going to do with $720 when your house is
Yeah.
burned? You know
Especially
what
when
I'm
you lost
saying?
your house, you lost
Yeah.
your, you lost a lot. But that's what I've been saying the same thing. It's the humanitarian piece and aspect that's missing in this world. Yeah, that's what I'll say on that. But
It seems that people's hearts are calcified.
yeah,
Yeah, there's no feelings. As long as I'm making my money, I don't care about you. But
mm-hmm.
yet, when God calls them home, God calls everybody home at some point.
Yeah,
They can't take a penny with them.
mm-hmm.
None.
Yeah.
None.
And that's why I say time. It's like people act like money is so, but I'm like, rewriting my book. I say this all the time, but we can manufacture more money. We can make more money. We can go get more money, but we can't bring none of that time back. And that's why it's
No.
more valuable being a humanitarian, giving your time and being of service to others. Like, it's just way more valuable. And it shows
Yes.
like I'm willing to pause, not make money to be here and show up for you. And not get anything in gain. Like, I'm not trying to gain anything. I'm just really giving my time because I care, because I'm a human.
Yeah.
It's a humanitarian.
But see, you are a human being. So, for example, well, people say, well, what kind of legacy would I want to leave? And it isn't about, well, man, I made a ton of money.
Yeah.
I'd rather leave a legacy of the people I helped
Mm-hmm.
selflessly, maybe help them turn a corner in their life. Things like that are priceless.
Yeah,
It carries on for generations, you know?
it
But
does.
no, it's like so and so that made $10 million on this and that. And this is why they're even talking about the health industry, because
Yeah.
health is the most important thing you got more than the wealth. And yet, I think some company made about a couple of $100 billion, okay, while people are starving. So it just seems that hearts are calcified, no feelings, no emotions, no nothing. And it's
Yeah.
not good because
And
the tables could be turned around on them too.
real quick. Real
Yes,
quick.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for sharing your perspective on the social media, the pressures that comes with it, and everything that has come with it. It is good, but it's a lot of, I'll say, negativity as well. But hopefully someone took something from this and get a different perspective, because I feel like like you said, the year number 9, humanitarian is big, and giving back, it can go a long way.
It certainly can. It certainly
Thank you.
can. And it should. It should.
Yeah, it should. Okay, so social media, imposter syndrome. It's something that I feel like everybody experiences, but I feel like the real point of it is not letting it consume you, not letting the social media consume you, not letting feeling like being an imposter and I'll say consume you. So, do you have any poetry or poems that you want to share in regards to social media or just um, imposter syndrome in general and about your experience with either topic?
Sure. First of all, then I'm not on any social media at all. And I think that technological advances that we're experiencing, then right now that are amazing, but I don't want technology then to control me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to be able then to control it. And my concern that are with algorithms, okay, that I think then sometimes then are taking in control of us then without us even knowing about it.
Yeah.
And I wrote a little poem called D Squared that kind of summarizes my concerns about social media. Then if I can share that with you.
Mm-hmm.
Digital devices, my oh my, ultimate connection, limitless sky. Are we that much closer to each other? Do we really care about one another? What happened to the human touch? Are digital devices an avoidance crutch? Where are we going? Where will it end? What's waiting for us around the bend?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think it's amazing that I feel like you may be one of the only few people, who don't have social media. I wish I honestly didn't, but I don't know. For me, I feel like I really use social media now for the most part for my books, for my podcast, and for getting therapy to the world out there. So I would say like because you are a poet and an author, um, how do you figure or how do you balance I'll say getting yourself out there without a social media presence? Or is there even a sense of like imposter syndrome, not feeling not connected or something? I don't know. Like, can you tell me about that or your
Yeah,
experience?
yeah. Then I think I've hurt myself. Then in some ways, from a marketing point of view, than for not being on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but my concerns about it, I think, outweigh the benefits of it, and I just am very skeptical and leery about getting involved, more in social media and then being kind of swept up in all of the other things that's involved with social media. Again, I think technological advances, that are just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And, and again, I think if you use social media, in a very positive way, in a helpful way, then I think it's amazing. I'm just then concerned that about myself that if I get involved in it, that I just might allow it then to consume a lot more of my time than what I really want to utilize it for.
No, I agree because sometimes I have my moments and then I don't do social media for a month or so. But I think social media and the technology advances, it's a gift and a curse, which a lot of things in life are. um, but you know what I'll say? Because I know you a little, I feel like the good thing though about you that a lot of people don't do or utilize as much, you're more so like networking big. Like that's how we met at the book vendor event. And I feel like you really put yourself out there to meet people in that way versus having to rely on social media to do those. Because a lot of people don't I'll say a lot of people don't go out to those events. Like a lot of people miss out on that human connection because of social media versus getting out there for real and really meeting and having genuine connections with people. I think it goes a long way, honestly, than social media. So I'm just going to switch it a little bit. because I feel like with social media, it has caused a lot of people to experience imposter syndrome or feel the need to keep up with the Joneses, I'll say. Um, because you lack that, do you ever find yourself feeling a sense of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I don't know the connection between. Yeah, I had a
Oh, so we had talked on the phone about this. Syndrome is feeling like, oh, poet. When I first got into writing poetry, that's what we had talked about. So that's why I wanted to like throw that in there because, and I don't know if you
okay.
wrote a poem about it, but if not, we could just wrap it up with yeah, feeling like, because a lot of people feel imposter syndrome when they switch and change careers. And
Oh,
then, and
yeah,
even just
definitely.
the aspect of, okay, since my wife's passing, I've tapped into a side of me that I've never experienced in my life, which is creativity, And in that creativity, of course, it's something new to me, so it doesn't feel legit. So you want me to start with the imposter syndrome?
Um, yeah, I can maybe talk a little bit about it. Maybe
Mhm.
not long.
Not long at all, because this is briefly. We're gonna wrap up this episode. But yeah, seeing as though you're not connected on like the digital aspect or in social media, because is there or have there ever been moments you felt imposter syndrome or felt like, you were in something that you shouldn't be?
Yeah, well, yeah, when I first started writing poetry, then I really even couldn't use the word poet. Okay, then I really didn't feel that I was a poet then at that point. I felt I was someone that kind of scrambled 26 letters around, and some of the time they rhymed and some of the time they don't, and then I put my ideas then on paper, and I guess through experience and joining then a writers group at my local library then was very, very helpful for me. And that experience kind of gave me the confidence to continue to create and to show that what I was reading was meaningful, then that other people found it meaningful. And then when I got that feedback and I got that confidence, that then I started then to write more, and then I was able to um, start to publish books and make CDs and do YouTube videos, and then just recently then a short film. But none of this then was planned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what I did was I just learned then to listen to myself. Okay, and to kind of follow my inner guide,
Mm-hmm.
and if it seemed positive and if it seemed interesting, and then I allow myself then to go that way. So through just experience and feedback, and then gaining confidence, now at this point in my life, that I can call myself a poet, and I don't have to compare myself then to other people. I just try to be the best me that I can do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I feel like you mentioned a few things that I know the audience needed to hear. Um, the first is like following that inner guide, your intuition, trusting that what's meant for you, even if you don't know what it is, it's right ahead. And you just have to walk into that. And I think a lot of people definitely feel imposter syndrome when it comes to a change of career or just a different life transition, honestly. And I think you mentioned something that I feel like will benefit a lot of people because it helps eliminate that comparison. Just first of all, not being on social media, that already takes away a lot of the comparison. But second, the library. And we talk about the library all the time, but a lot of people don't know that it's a good source of support, networking. They have so many things there, not just for authors or poets or writers, just community resources. So I think it's a good place to start if you don't know where your group is or you just need an outlet to connect with people on a human level instead of digital technology. But is there anything else that you want to leave the audience? Because I feel like you kind of summed up a lot with what you just said, but is there any other particular message you want to leave the audience in regards to imposter syndrome or social media pressures?
Well, again, I think that we all have to be the best, the best person then that we can be, given our own get our own talents, and not try to compare ourselves then to other people then feel inferior, you know. So I think digital media then can be very, very helpful, if it's used in the proper way. So I just encourage in myself and in others then to just express themselves then the best way that they can do, and don't worry then about then comparing yourself then to others all the time.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience with becoming a poet and how you felt and dealt with that. And also, I'm really happy that you shared your experience with social media and the lack thereof it. I feel like a lot of people need to take social media breaks and do like a detox from digital media and go outside and really connect with others. But thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Thank you for having me.
Before I wrap up, I want to thank my guests for their vulnerability and honesty today, because it takes a different kind of courage to say, I'm still becoming, I'm still building, I'm still choosing, especially with all of social media and all that good stuff. But I want to speak to the person listening right now who feels like they're pretending. Maybe you just started therapy or started your healing journey or left a toxic relationship or posted something real and your family made you feel crazy. Listen, you're not faking it. You are just finally showing up in a way that feels unfamiliar. And the people who get uncomfortable when you heal, that's a reflection of them, not you. Speaking your truth threatens people still living in their lie. And sometimes they're the villain in your truth. It doesn't make them a villain in their own life. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like, I don't see you as a villain. I know that when you did this harm to me or whatever you did to me, and maybe whatever I did to somebody else, but whatever you did to me, I know now that you were hurting too. And I don't know what your story is fully. And sometimes I do know. And that's how I'm able to forgive you. So I hope you being somebody's villain doesn't make you want to not live in your truth. A lot of times we just wasn't healed, and sometimes that's all we knew. And that's why I've been talking to my mom a lot. I can forgive my mom for, I'm going to say she's not the perfect mother. I'm going to say this again, but she's the perfect Latasha Ward. She's the perfect her. I know everything that she did. She tried her best. And that's all I can do and be grateful for. So I just know how it feels, because I literally was going through this and still kind of going through this, but I used to be afraid of becoming too different. But now I embrace it, because different doesn't mean wrong. It means called, I'll say, because I know I'm called by God because of everything I went through. And despite everything I went through, I'm healing a nation, honestly, because that's my mission. I mean, therapy for the world. But you can't fake being something you're not forever, not peacefully. We let one moment or one chapter define our entire story. But I'm here to tell you, you're born looking like your family, but you die looking like your choices. And I'm going to keep saying it. Like, we are born into an environment, because sometimes it's not our family. Sometimes it's friends, that we mirror. But the choices we make throughout life, that defines who we are. Because if I let the first 20 years of my life define me, I will probably most likely either be dead or in jail. And I know you're like, oh, but seriously, when I share my story, I'm like, dang, I forgot so much things that I've experienced in my life. I can only thank God for who I am right now in this moment. Because here's the thing about life. You can't fake being something you're not. And my friend, she was over here earlier and she got to hear the introduction and she was just like, oh, that. She was like, a lot of times we be trying to become, I'll say, the perfect embodiment of what a therapist is or what a healer looks like, that we don't realize the end for all of us. And this is what I keep saying. This is in my book. The end, the final destination is death. It's not you becoming a therapist. It's not you graduating school. It's not you getting married. It's not you getting $1 million. It's death. And we so caught up and distracted in one moment that we're not even seeing the bigger picture. We have been blessed to get this thing we call life, this thing we call a game, that we lose out on actually experiencing it because we letting the hurt from 13 years ago, 20 years ago, still impact us today. We still letting this shame, this guilt, this I'm damaged now. Oh, I can't believe my father, my mother, these mother wounds, these father wounds. We hate them so bad, but we're so stuck in their approval. Like, and I love my mom because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be me, honestly, despite everything we went through. But every day you choose to show up. I'm just say this, in your truth, life becomes freer. You get a little bolder, because you're more aligned. That's what I'll say. Because I'm 100%, like, I'm not scared of anything. I know God has me. I know I'm never late, and it's not an excuse. I'm always on time because God got me. Like, just because I know God got me, I'm not living. I'm gonna say recklessly. I'm not living in a way that is fear. I'm living in a way that I'm an example of God's child, and I want to be on my best behavior for God, not for the Bible, not for Jesus, not for anybody, but God, my creator, our creator. Because, man, having this opportunity, and I'm not trying to come at no religion, I'm literally being honest. Like, I'm doing this for our creator. I'm doing this because I have the ability to say I have life. And I just went to see David Banner speak, and he's saying everything I've been saying. It was a really good speech. He was like, why does somebody else's story, characters in the Bible story, outweighs your truth, your life? Like, why isn't your truth, your life, your story enough proof that God exists? And God existing and giving you existence, why isn't enough proof to live right? I feel like I'm the most nicest person a person could possibly ever meet. And it's not because of, it's just who I am, honestly. But now I'm being even more intentional about being a good person because of how grateful I am that God gave me the opportunity to do life. But I just be talking. I want y'all to hear me, though. I'm telling you, like, literally, all you have to do is be yourself. Be you 100% authentically you. What works for you. Not what works for anybody else, but what works for you. But I'm going to get into this last part of this song for today's episode. T.I., Tiana Taylor, You. Everyone's a saint to the church. Let's out that goes. I feel like it's a reminder that I want to leave with you today, this song, that lyric. Don't forget about you. Don't get so caught up in proving that you forget to be. You don't have to fake it anymore. You are already making it, okay? Every boundary you set, every lie you unlearned, every truth you speak, that's not pretend. That's progress. But until next time, take care of your story, take care of your peace, and most of all, take care of you.